Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion today in my really adorable, cheerful office. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am thrilled to have this discussion with you today. Isn't it fun? It's not big, but like, who needs big when it's cheerful? And there's like, if you dip right in here, you probably can't see out there too much, but there's like a gorgeous view of the lake and the mountains looking really freezing, very Titanic-ish right now, like freezing. But it's gorgeous. Anyway, so today I wanted to really kind of have a chat with you about conditioning the body for fear. And I think there are definitely some people that don't realize that the body has its own intelligence, directed by the mind, okay, directed by the mind. However, when we allow our fear-based thinking and our anxious thinking, which is very similar, not exactly the same, but similar, when we allow, and the word is allow, because we do have a lot of choice there, and the more aware we become of our thoughts, you know, the better able we are to catch them, like nip it in the bud, right? And so we've talked about this a lot. We can't do what we don't know. However, once we become aware of what's not working for us or working for us, then we've got, you know, the responsibility to continue the good stuff and not so much with the unfavorable stuff. So a lot of people just don't realize that as we think, so shall we be, as Wayne Dyer would say. So we are not our thoughts until we allow them to stay there, right? They're just like bubbles. John Kabat-Zinn would say, pop, 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 pop. There's a what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that, pop, 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 pop. Realizing it's just monkey chatter. It's just the ego talking. It's just monkey chatter. And we can pop those. However, once we let them hang around for a while, then they can really stick. And there's that old 17-second rule. It doesn't mean you can't, you know, get rid of them after that. Of course you can, but it gets a little tougher to get rid of them after the 17 seconds. Something about 17 seconds, research-based. So we want to be catching those. So here's the thing. So again, here's the thing about it. Anxiety in general, and fear is adaptive. Fear is adaptive. It's very primitive. When we were being chased around by, you know, raptors and pterodactyls were circling in the air way back when, we were ducking into caves and out of dodge from saber-toothed tigers and things. Being the fear thing was in our favor because it helped us survive. But we just have kind of adapted to it. Where now, you know, we've said this before, you know, missing an email or a text, it's like 4-alarm fire. And the brain does not know the difference between what we're creating in our heads and really being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. So what happens is when we allow fear-based thinking to continue, the brain reinforces itself, right? The brain, just like a dog, say golden retriever, wants to please you. So when it finds what it finds, it's like giving a dog a biscuit or a prime rib bone, actually, because it's so reinforcing. So each and every time we go through the drill in that hamster loop of negative, you know, internal dialogue, like, what if I don't find a partner? What if I don't graduate? What if I don't get that job? What if I don't get the promotion? What if I don't save enough retirement, whatever your, you know, life stage is? The brain's like, oh, I found it. That's the loop we do on the way home in the car. You know, that's the loop that we do in the shower. You know, found it. And after a while, not only does that negative internal dialogue that's fear-based and anxious, not only does it get stronger and stronger and stronger, because we're allowing, the word is allow, because we are the boss of our brain. That's what this Minecraft's about, right? It gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Here's the kicker. What people don't always realize is that the stronger that thought process gets, the mind and the body are intimately and intricately connected. So the mind can teach the body, and does teach the body. And once the body gets it, the body's like, okay, boss, I'm good, and keeps it rolling. And so my new friend Joe Dispenza, when he talks about addiction, says that's basically it right there. Obviously it involves neuroreceptors and stuff. But when the body, it's like, I got this thing. We keep drinking that alcohol to self-regulate and not feel anxious. Okay, this is working. I don't need your direction anymore. We can become addicted to negative emotion too, like fear and anxiety and all the rest of all of them, shame and guilt, and we just get in the body's like, I got it. So let's say anxious and fear-based thinking. It's no big surprise then when somebody has allowed this to go on so long that's not said in a blaming way, because we know, disclaimer, that anxiety and depression and the rest of it are more complicated with neuroreceptors and things like that. And that said, though, think about panic attacks. It's the anticipation of the discomfort. So the brain has learned, okay, watch out, this is coming, which is like feeding the whole thing. So the body then has a full-blown, the chest, it's all somatic, right? The chest gets tight, feel like we can't breathe, heart's racing, sweaty palms, maybe seeing a little bit of stars and things like that. We get dizzy. So the body's like, I got this. I know how to panic without you. Don't need your help anymore. Thank you. Okay, so the thing is, we've got to learn how to get that back. And so we got to kind of unlearn and get rid of what's already been programmed before we can unlearn the fear-based anxious programming that now the body has learned too. So this is like, it's conditioning the body to be anxious. The body all on its own now is anxious. And it's we add to that because worrying, right? Worrying is also is just a form of anxiety. Worrying is rehearsing being anxious. So that's basically what we do. So we're creating a vessel for that's literally siphoning and sucking everything out of the present moment, and giving it to the past. Because when we're living in the past, we're not here. We're siphoning, these life minutes and bringing them to what's familiar and not working for us. Okay, or we're siphoning them out of the future, which we really can't predict, but we're trying to. It's all a big, gigantic waste of life minutes. So the body thing, when it's learned this fear-based somatic response, it can feel like it's a runaway train, like just there it goes, and that's because, in the kind of sense, it is until we reel it in. So really, the way to do that is a couple of things. First of all, becoming aware. We cannot do anything until we know about it. We cannot do what we don't know. Become aware. Okay, I am aware that I've got a lot of fear-based thinking right now. And then realize to wrap around yourself with compassion, because it's gotten that way over a long period of time, so it's not going to go away overnight. It will go away, because whatever we practice diligently, we will get better at, no question. And then to learn how to sit with that discomfort and become comfortable being uncomfortable, knowing it's going to go away eventually. Yes, it is a tough sell, and I do this thing with my students. Is it that simple? Yes. Is it that easy? No. And here's the thing, whether it's panic, whether it's the OCD stuff, it's all coming from the same fire hydrant. We've talked about it. The source of anxiety is the same in the brain. It just looks like obsessive compulsive thinking for one, it looks like panic for another, it looks like phobias for another, and it looks like generalized anxiety for somebody else. And PTSD used to be in that category until they changed it. All these things are just coming from the same source. And so what we've got to do is have the courage, because it does take courage, to sit still. You can call it meditate, and call it being mindful, to really sit still, quiet the mind. I shouldn't say sit still. I'm talking about still from here up. If like for me, running, skiing, and then when those, and this can happen in the car, definitely the bathtub, the shower, whatever we're kind of offline, that's when we are yanked out of the moment and into all these, the familiar past and predictable future, right? Trying to predict the future. So we have to really kind of catch ourselves doing it. And as awful as it is to just acknowledge, okay, it seems like I'm having a lot of anxious thoughts. I'm having a lot of anxious, one after the other. They're rolling in. Here comes the fear thoughts. Here comes the fear thoughts. And become aware and as comfortable as you can be with the discomfort and talking back to them. It's okay, because okay, I am. This is no longer working for me. These anxious thoughts are just thoughts. Picture thought bubbles and pop them, and that's it. And get quiet, because only when we start to not give them energy will they go away. Because whatever we are paying attention to, whether it's the negative thoughts or it's the positive thoughts, okay, whatever, and in life in general, whatever and whoever we are paying attention to is where our energy is going. So once we get that, we want to be really, really careful about what we pay attention to, and understanding that every single thought that crosses our mind expands. Then we get way more selective about the thoughts we allow. So that's really it. We want to stop rehearsing anxiety, stop conditioning the body to take on the anxiety and have it and just run away with it like a little 2-year-old. Eventually the 2-year-old, after one tantrum after the next, when we ignore it, gets it that you're the boss. What's not different with the body taking on the anxiety and the fear. Okay? Awesome. This is what we're talking about, becoming the boss of your brain. That's it. That's what Minecraft's about. Have a mindful day.